Hi all, this is the last series of my video for GATE 2023. I am answering from question 57 to 65. So let's start. The question number 57 is the demand and supply functions for a commodity are given by dP is equal to 10 minus 2p and SP is equal to minus 2 plus p. Here, DP and SP are the quantity demanded and supplied respectively, and P is the unit price of the good. Okay. So if the government sets a price ceiling of US $3 per unit, then the increase in consumer surplus is okay. So we have to see first the equilibrium, and then we will see that okay, what is the consumer surplus after this ceiling of price. So did it really increase or no? So for that, we first need to find the equilibrium condition. So I drew the graph as well. So since it is starting from minus 2, so it is here. Actually, it is starting from minus 2 and then this supply curve comes here. And then I draw one more graph of equilibrium. So actually, here is the equilibrium. And what is this price? This price is actually 4. So let's see how it works. dP is equal to SP, and we equated 10 minus 2p is equal to minus 2 plus p. So this becomes plus 12p is equal to 3p. So p is equal to 4. So our equilibrium price p is equal to 4. And if p is equal to 4, then q is equal to 10 minus 2p, which is equal to 2. So equilibrium quantity is 2 and equilibrium price is 4. Now the government sets the price to 3. It reduces from 4 to 3. So then what will happen? How much will be supplied by then? So we have to go by S curve. So when P is equal to 3, then supply is then S is equal to minus 2 plus 3 is equal to 1. Only 1. What is the demand? The demand is actually 10 minus 6, which is equal to 4. So D is equal to actually 4 at P is equal to 3. But then 3 people means, well, 3 units of demand would not be fulfilled. So, well, that's what the situation is. But let's go and solve this. So what would be the consumer surplus when P is equal to 4? So when equilibrium price is equal to 4, then consumer surplus is quantity demanded is 2. So actually here from here, so I draw this line, and this one is actually from here to here it is 2. Okay. So quantity demanded is 2, and half of this area, half times base is 2 and height is here 4 to 5, 1. So consumer surplus is 0.5 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 1. So at equilibrium, the consumer surplus is 1. What happens when the price is equal to 3? So when price is reduced to 3, then we have consumer surplus here only, up to this rectangle and plus this triangle. So that way we will have consumer surplus in this area. So here the base is only 1. So base is 1, okay, and the area of the rectangle is height is how much? Here it is 3 and this one is 4.5. How did I get 4.5 when this Q is equal to 1? Then what will be the P? So that's how I got here I put 1, then 2p is equal to 10 minus 1, so p is equal to 4.5. So this will be the demand price at that time. So area of this rectangle will be 1 times 1.5, because here it is 3 and here it is 4.5. So I can write it like this, that this part, this price is actually 3, which the government put, and then this one is 4.5. So height is 1.5 and base is 1. So 1.5 times base and then 1.5 times base is 1, yeah. So this becomes 1.5 area because you don't need to divide it by 2 since it is a rectangle. And then what is the area of that triangle? Here also the base is 1, so I took 1 here base, and height is 0.5 because 5 minus 4.5 is 0.5, and since it is a triangle I multiply it by 0.5 to get the area. So this becomes equal to 1.75. Okay, 0.5 times 0.5 is equal to 0.25, and this one is 1 times 1.5, so 1.75 plus 0.25 is equal to 1.75. Earlier the consumer surplus was 1 and now it is 1.75. Hence change in consumer surplus is 0.75. So that is what I will write. $0.75 is the consumer surplus, rounded up to 2 decimal places. So it means it will round means 0.70 to 0.80. That is what GATE does. Though I find it stupid, that well, there is no harm in writing 0.75. But rounded off means it can be 0.70 and it can be 0.80. So anyone will be correct. So that's the answer for question number 57. I hope you got it with this graph, though this graph is not very clear because I am drawing it by computer and I am new, so I don't know much about it. But anyway, so let's go on question 58. A duopoly faces the inverse market demand function P is equal to 120 minus Q, where P is the unit price of the good being sold by firm A and B, and Q is the total output. So Q is equal to QA plus QB or Q1 plus Q2, where Q1 is of output of firm A and Q2 of output firm B. So firm A has a constant marginal cost of 20, which is exactly half of firm B's constant marginal cost. It means firm B's marginal cost is actually 40 because it is half, so his marginal cost is actually 40. Now here I just put it that okay, this part is 40. There is no fixed cost of both the firms. If there exists a Cournot-Nash equilibrium, what is the Q? So let's find this Cournot-Nash equilibrium. So I converted P is equal to 120 minus Q1 minus Q2. Then of course I multiply this by Q1 to get TR1, total revenue of firm 1. And so PQ1 is equal to 120 Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q1 Q2. And marginal revenue of 1 will become the derivative of that. So that becomes 120 minus 2Q1 minus Q2. So for equilibrium, MR1 is equal to MC1 and MC1 is given 20. So this becomes our 120 minus 2Q1 minus Q2 is equal to 20, or Q1 is equal to 120 minus 20 is 100, and since it is 2Q1, so 100 divided by 2 is 50, so 50 minus, and then Q2 is half, so 50 minus half Q2. This becomes our actually reaction curve, because here it is a function of Q1 is a function of Q2, so this becomes the reaction curve. Okay, so let me just write it here for simplicity. Otherwise, this is not actually needed for faster, but I just, since I am teaching, so I am writing it for those who are not very proficient. Okay. Similarly, MR2 will be, since it is 120 minus 2 Q1 minus Q2, it will just be 120 minus, replace this Q2 by Q1 and minus 2 Q2 because of symmetry. So that becomes MR, and since MC is equal to 40, so I wrote it here 40. This gives Q2 is equal to 120 minus 40 is 80, so 80 divided by 2 is 40 and minus half Q1. Then substitute this Q1 value here, Q2 value in Q1 to get the equilibrium. So Q1 is equal to 50 minus 0.5, it is no 0.5 Q2, so 0.5 times 40 minus 0.5 Q1, so we get all Q1, so we get this 0.75 Q1 is equal to 50 minus 20, which is 30, or Q1 is equal to 40. So when Q1 is 40, Q1 star actually, it is equilibrium. So Qt star is equal to 40 minus 0.5 times 40, because Q2 is 40 minus 0.5 Q1 we just derived. So that one is equal to 20. So Q2 is equal to 20 and Q1 is 40. So total Q is equal to 40 plus 20, which is 60. I hope I was able to explain this to you all, and you can always stop and see the calculation. Otherwise, it is quite simple. Well, those who are new, for them it may not be so simple. Next question. Next question is, this looks like a very difficult question, okay? So if you answered it correctly, I congratulate you in advance. You will get maybe more percentile score than 97 or so, if you could answer this question correctly. So here is, consider the following short run cost function. CQ is equal to, this is total cost function, 10Q cube minus 80Q square plus 300Q plus 50. So 50 is our fixed cost. Okay. So at the minimum average variable cost, so we have to minimize the average variable cost. Okay. So variable cost doesn't include fixed cost. So this 50 will go away. The value of the marginal cost. So first let's calculate the marginal cost. So marginal cost will be just dc dq. So this becomes 30Q square minus 160Q plus 300. This one is equal to marginal cost. It doesn't have to be 0. I don't know why I wrote it 0. It should be equal to actually marginal cost. It doesn't have to be 0. So I just delete it. Okay, it may be careless writing. Now what is average variable cost? So divide this by Q and exclude fixed cost. So average variable cost is 10Q square, because I divided it by Q, minus 80Q plus 300. Okay. So at the minimum of average variable cost, marginal cost is equal to average variable cost. As you can see in the graph, here it is, minimum of average variable cost. This curve is minimum of this curve is average variable cost, and marginal cost intersects it from below. So let's see what is the answer. So minimum of average variable cost is equal to, we take the derivative of this and equate it to 0, so that we meet the first order condition. So 20Q minus 80 is equal to 0, or Q is equal to 4. What have I written here? What is this? I know what is this. Anyway, so Q is equal to 4. That's what we got. Let me erase it and write here Q is equal to actually 4. So this minimizes the average variable cost, and here we start with 0, and here it will be C. Okay. So when Q is equal to 4, then marginal cost is equal to what? We can check the second derivative. That you see, if you take the second derivative, then this becomes 20, which is a positive number. So for the minima, the first derivative should be 0 and second derivative should be positive. So we find it 20. So this satisfies. Now marginal cost is equal to 30. Here it is, we have calculated, no? 30 times Q square. So Q square is 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. So 30 times 16 is equal to 480 minus 160 times 4 is equal to 640 and plus 300. So that way we get 780 minus 640 is equal to 140. So that will be the value of marginal cost, and that is equal to 140. If you answered this correctly, you are really a proficient student and you have good future for pursuing MTech or PhD, whatever you want to do. Now next question is, consider the Keynesian cross model with a linear consumption function and a zero tax, there is no tax, where the government purchase is rupees 100. So that is the beginning government purchase 100 and the equilibrium income is 1300. if the government purchase is increased to 125, means from 100 to 125, it is not increased by, it is increased to, means 25 of extra government purchase is made, then the equilibrium income increases to 1400, means equilibrium increases income by 100 rupees, 1400 minus 1300. Using the given information, the MPC is marginal propensity to consume is round off to 2 decimal places. So again, it will be 0.70 and 0.80, but that is for you to write in the exam. I am telling you the exact number. So change in G is 25, change in Y is 100, hence what is K? K is equal to 100 divided by 25, because delta Y is equal to K times delta G. So this becomes 4, multiplier, K is 4. So the formula of K is 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. So that way 4 is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC, or do the cross multiplication. So 4 minus 4 MPC is equal to 1, or 4 MPC is equal to 3, hence MPC is equal to 3 by 4, or 0.75. So this was an easy question, needed some concepts, that's it. This one many people don't know, though it is an easy question. Using the OLS method, a researcher estimated the relationship between initial salary S of MBA graduates, means S is the dependent variable, and their cumulative grade point average, it is CGPA. So S is the dependent variable, beta 0 is the intercept, and beta 1 CGPA is the independent variable, and beta 1 is the coefficient. That will tell us what if CGPA increases by 1 unit, then how much will S increase. So where beta 0 is equal to 4543 and beta 1 is equal to 645.08. The standard errors of beta 0 are 921.79 and of beta 1 are 70.01 respectively. The T statistics for testing the null hypothesis, beta 1 is equal to 0. So we have to test whether beta is significant or not. So we get this beta 1 is equal to 645 and we divide it by T. So T is 70.05. So this I get 9.25, means what it will be 9.21. So rounded off to 2 decimal places, maybe it will be 9.20 or something like that. I don't know what those guys will expect in GATE. You know better than me. So this will be the T value. So since it is much more than 2, it is highly significant, and even I is actually 100. So we need to compare it only with 1.96. But it is not asking all those things. It is the T statistic we have to calculate. So T statistic is beta 1 divided by its standard error. So not many people know this, though actually it is not very difficult question if you know it. Next question is slightly difficult and many people might have made errors in this. Let x be a random variable with probability density function of x such that function of x is equal to 1 by 2 root 3. This one is constant. If x is between minus 3 and plus root 3, minus root 3 and plus root 3, it means it is a uniform distribution. The range is fixed and fx is also fixed and 0 otherwise. Okay, so then the variance of x. Now this is uniform distribution, so I drew the graph. Here is the p, which is function of x, and which is 1 by 2 root 3. And this is the range minus root 3 and plus root 3, and mean is 0. Okay, so let's calculate the variance. So variance formula is actually b minus a whole square divided by 12. So b is plus root 3 and a is minus root 3. So root 3 minus root 3 is equal to 2 root 3. So I made this 2 times 3 to the power 0.5 whole square. Okay, so because it is 2 root 3 to the power 0.5 root 3 time and whole to the power 2 divided by 12. So this becomes 2 times 2 is equal to 4 and root 3 times root 3 is equal to 3. So 12 divided by 12 is equal to 1. So variance is equal to 1. Actually, that is what it asks in integer. So I write here. I hope some of you did it correctly, because I know it is not an easy question. So many people make mistakes in rectangular hyperbola, though it is one of the easy distributions, but people read it easily, and that's why they make mistakes. Let's go to see question number 63. Suppose from the equation of linear regression model y I is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 xi plus ei. Okay, only one independent variable xi. The residual sum of squares means RSS, and the total sum of square TSS are obtained as 40 and 80 respectively. The value of coefficient of determination is, so coefficient of determination is actually your R square. R square is also called coefficient of determination. So how do we calculate R square? R square is regression sum of squared or explained sum of squares divided by total sum square. So we have not been given explained sum of square, but we have been given residual sum of squares. So total sum of squares minus residual sum of squares, we get explained sum of square. Or the same way means 1 minus RSS by TSS is the formula for R square, which is equal to 1 minus 44 by 100. So since this is 0.55, so this becomes 0.55 and 0.45. So I hope you people didn't write 0.55, because you saw this 44 and divided by 18. No, that is not correct answer. Or I hope you didn't make what I would say, careless error. So the exact answer is 0.45. So what will the value of coefficient of determination is 0.45. Okay. Now question number 64. A labor augmenting production function is given by y is equal to k to the power 0.33 AL. Here it is AL to the power 0.67. It's not only A is outside, A is within the parenthesis. So this exponent 0.67 will apply on A also. So where y is equal to output, k is equal to capital L is equal to labor, and A is technology. Assume that the growth rate of L is 1.2 per annum. Okay, L is growing at the rate of 1.2 per annum. The growth rate of K is 3% and the growth rate of A is 1.5% per annum. Using the growth accounting approach, the growth rate of Y in terms of per annum is. So let's do it. So growth rate of Y G is equal to 0.33 is the coefficient times the growth rate of capital, so which is 3%. So 0.33 times 3 and then plus 0.67 times labor is growing 1.2%, so 1.2, and then plus 1.5 is the growth rate of A, so this will be 0.67 times 1.5. So that way I get 0.99 plus 0.8 plus 1, which is equal to 2.79%. So rounded off to 2 decimal places means, I don't know. I will write exact answer. So 2.79 percent. What does this percent? Okay. So rate of Y in percent per annum. So it is already 2.79 because it is already here written percent. So I don't need to write percent there. I just need to write 2.79. Now last question. The last question is, a monopolist is facing the demand function Q is equal to 100 by P minus 1. Again, this question has been made difficult. There is no point in writing P minus 1. It has been written only to scare you. Otherwise, if they would have written 100 by P, many people would have found it easier. They wouldn't have gotten scared. But Gate wants to scare if you are not very well prepared. So don't get scared. Where Q is the quantity demanded and P is the price per unit of good, P which is greater than 1. Okay, if it is equal to 1, then this becomes infinity. So the average variable cost of monopolist is 4 by root q. So here it is average variable cost. Yeah, pay attention to this. And the fixed cost is 10. The profit maximizing price is, let's calculate. So here let's first calculate P. So Q is equal to 100 by P minus 1. So by cross multiplication, P minus 1 is equal to 100 by Q. Hence P is equal to 100 by Q plus 1. Now total revenue is equal to PQ, which is equal to 100 by Q times Q becomes 100, and plus 1 times Q is equal to Q. So marginal revenue is dPQ dQ, that is equal to 1. So marginal revenue is 1. Now what is the total variable cost? So total variable cost is average variable cost times Q. So that becomes 4 times Q to the power 0.5, because this Q is Q to the power minus 0.5 times Q to the power Q, that becomes 4 times Q to the power 0.5. So derivative of this will give marginal cost. So marginal cost is equal to 0.5 times 4, and then again Q to the power minus 0.5. So that way we get 2 divided by Q to root Q. That is our marginal cost. Now for equilibrium, marginal cost must equal marginal revenue. Since marginal revenue was 1, and we get marginal cost equal to 2 by root Q. So this gives us Q is equal to 4. How did I get it? Because root Q is equal to 2 by cross multiplication. So Q is equal to square of 2, that becomes 4. Hence P is equal to, P is what? 100 by Q. So 100 by 4 and then plus 1. So P is equal to 26. And that is what he is asking. So those who had studied monopoly, they wouldn't find it difficult. Only thing is that here by putting P minus 1, the gate unnecessarily complicated it, probably to scare you. And since this was the last question, gate was expecting that you would get panicked and make errors. So that's all in this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to like it and subscribe my channel. I will be preparing more videos if you all encourage me, and I hope you must have liked it, because I was a very good professor in USA. So I was rated the best professor, as I make the things easy to understand, and also I give the shortest possible answer. So you see, my answers are only in 3 lines, and you get 2 points. So thank you for watching this. See you again.